Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Chrissie B, and I am a creativity coach. I am somebody who is very passionate about art journaling, and living a creative life. And my goal is to empower you to go about creating your own creative life as well. Today, I'd like to share something with you that I call Soul Book. And what Soul Book is basically Soul Book is it's a type of creative journaling. It's basically an Omni journal. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, but an Omni journal is a journal that can be a combination of an art journal, a Pinterest board / vision board. It can be a smash book. It can be a scrapbook. It could be a Dear Diary journal kind of a book. I use my Soul Book as a way to dump my soul into that book, to remind myself when life gets crazy busy, which it does a lot, and I'm sure it does for you too. But when life gets crazy busy, I have a tendency to forget who I am, what's important to me, what I want, and where I'm going with myself. And when life gets stressful and things get hectic, I have a tendency to kind of channel down on some negative thing. And then I can go back to my Soul Book and it reminds me of who I am, what I want, and what's most important to me. So before we get started with the actual how to go about doing your own Soul Book, I thought I would show you a quick show and tell of my Soul Books. And I have been doing this for 3 years now. I started doing Soul Book in 2014. And I started doing Soul Book at a time in my life where I felt like where I was at was it, that there wasn't anything more, and I was just gonna have to figure out how to live my life this way for the rest of my life. I wasn't happy. What actually happened was I, for some reason, woke up one day, like I've been walking around existing, and all of a sudden I became conscious and aware that the life that I was actually standing in was the life that I didn't know how I had gotten here. I don't remember creating it. I don't know how I created it. I don't remember making these choices. Although I did choose everything, I did create it. But I think what was happening is I was going through life feeling like I was doing the responsible thing and not really the thing that I felt like my soul was crying out to do. And so when I looked around at my life in 2014, I was not happy, which was really bizarre because I had everything that I was supposed to have to be happy. I had a great home, I had a great husband, I had a great job that paid great money with great benefits. I had everything that I should have had to be happy, but I wasn't happy. I realized I wasn't honoring myself, I wasn't living authentically. And in all honesty, I was not living, I was just existing. So I started doing this process called Soul Book. Now, the way that this Soul Book came to be was I went to a women's retreat, and they basically gave you a blank sketchbook to play in. And I think the way that she described it to us was, this is your bad day book. And when you have a bad day, you open it and it reminds you why the day maybe isn't so bad. Which was great, but it didn't really resonate with me. What really did resonate with me was I wanted to just be my ADD self in an art journal. So that's exactly what I did. And about halfway through the year, I wasn't sharing this with anybody except my husband. I did finally let my husband take a peek inside. And he said, you know what this is? This is your soul. You've put your soul in these pages. And he made the comment that if I were ever to pass away, he would cherish these books, because if he ever wanted to find me, all he'd have to do was look in the pages of these books. So that really resonated with me. That made me passionate about doing these. And so what ended up happening was I started sharing this process with all of my friends. I just felt like everybody needed to do this, because what a Soul Book did for me was it helped me heal. It helped me wash away the blinders that I had been wearing for so long, and it helped me realize that I have choice, that I have a choice, that I can choose the life that I want to live, and I can actually design the life that I want. At the end of the day, when I woke up, I wanted to look around at my life and see myself in every single thing that I had around me, every decision, every experience, every family member, friend. I wanted to feel like I was represented. So that's what Soul Book did for me, and I have been doing this for 3 years. Like I said, I've been doing this for 3 years, and today I'm about to start year 4. Now, normally I start doing my Soul Book around the first of the year. It's kind of my sloughing off last year and going into the new year with, brand new eyes, brand new hopes and dreams and ambitions, and basically like a clean slate. And that really is what it is. It's a clean slate. And I realize that we are in the middle of February, but just because I didn't start in January doesn't mean it's too late. It's never too late to get started. So I encourage you to follow along with me. I would encourage you to try this process. It literally has been life-changing for me, and I'm just so in love with it. Like, I don't know what I would ever do without Soulbook. It's kind of like a life coach slash counselor slash window into your own soul, which is why I call it a Soulbook. So let me give you a peek at my last 3 years of Soulbooks. So this was my very first Soulbook that I had done, and I decorate the cover, and I also, it's kind of chubby, which I like. I like to make it as fat as I possibly can. I also like to do fun things with the edges, just because this is my way to play. When I'm in my Soulbook, I basically take away all of the little gremlins that you know, they're in your head and they say, oh, you're not good enough, or you're not creative enough, or that's not pretty enough, or, you know, I put all of that away. I say, thank you so much for taking care of me. Thank you so much for protecting me. But I'm gonna give you permission for the next hour to go sit under that little tree and take a little nap, because mama's fine and I'm just gonna play. And I basically give myself permission, as if I were a kindergartner again, to draw the world's ugliest horse and be so proud of that ugly horse, because it's not about the horse, it's about the experience of drawing the horse. So I'm very into cutting out pictures and putting pictures and messages in there from magazines. I like to take pictures of some of my own things and put them in there. I like to write. There's a lot of handwriting in this first year. This first year that I was doing my Soulbook, I was really just playing and experimenting and trying to figure out how I wanted this to work for myself, because I was just making this up as I was going. But I have stories in here about fun things that we did. I have stories about people in my life that I love, friends and family. My fur babies are in here. Just little reminders to myself that if I'm having a bad day. This one says, here's a picture of myself, and it basically says, Chrissy, in case you forget, this is what happy looks like. And it's just a picture of myself, like, truly smiling up to my eyeballs. So if I'm having a bad day, I can come back in here and flip through some of these pages, and it brings back some of those feelings and those emotions for me. I also ask myself a lot of questions. It's my way of kind of thinking, okay, here's a question for myself, and I might not be able to answer it in the moment, but as I flip through it, you know, throughout the next year, maybe an answer will come, and before I know it, I'll know the answer to the question, because I've always had the answer inside of me. I just didn't know how to tap into it. And so that's another thing that the Soulbook does. The Soulbook really helps you have the ability to tap into some of those things. There's some like play, just some papers that I've done, napkins, lots of art journaling techniques. I love decorative papers, notes from friends, just all sorts of little things. I have a lot of pockets with envelopes and tags. This particular book had a lot of vision boarding in it. I do a lot of vision boarding all year long. So that's kind of, I mean, it just kind of goes on and on and on and on. There's just so much in this one. I'm actually kind of proud of this particular spread. This paper on the background was actually music paper, and I was using it as like my scrap paper to protect all my other pages from work I was doing in smaller Soulbooks. And when I pulled them out one day to use them again, I was so in love with the color that I decided to like make them the background of its own art spread. And then I have a couple tip-ins here that describe a moment where I met one of my really good friends and one of the activities that we did every month together. And this just kind of commemorates that, and just, it makes me happy to see it. Some of the people who inspire me, more vision boarding. I have lots of quotes in here, lots of inspirational stuff, pictures of things I like to make in my life, make come true in my life. I also use my Soulbook as a way to study. So sometimes I will be reading a really positive and empowering self-help book of some sort. This book I was reading was Authentic Woman by Leslie and Susanna Kenton. I was so in love with this book that about halfway through I actually stopped to start it over again. And I decided that I was going to take all of my juicy notes in my Soulbook, because this book was so indicative of the messages that I needed to hear that year. I needed to like document it, and that's kind of what that was all about. A lot of pictures, a lot of creative ways to do edging. I just love that. Some more art journaling. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of everything. And if you've been following my channel at all, you will know that I'm very ADD. I have a tendency to like have the attention span of a gnat. So many things just distract me so quickly. And that's why I really like Soul Book, because it is meant to be a tool for somebody who is totally spastic and ADD and can't focus, and maybe you only have 10 or 15 minutes of creativity bursts at a time. Maybe you're busy and you've got a lot going in your life. You've got children clawing at the door saying, "Mommy, what are you doing?" And you're in the bathroom with your colored pencils trying to get your art down. That's what this is all about. It's super, super, super fast. So that is my first year. I have all sorts of things in here that I just absolutely love. They're so scrumptious. This is my second year, and my second year is actually fatter than my first year, because by this point I had an idea of what my Soul Book was, because one, I had fallen in love with the process, and two, I was now using my Soul Book consciously as a way to tap into my inner self. And I was really using my Soul Book kind of as a way of meditating. But this one kind of got a little bit fancier. I had a lot more self-discovery things in here. I did a lot more like on purpose type assignments, like I gave myself homework assignments. This was also the year that I started teaching Soul Book out in the world. So I had a group of women who we would meet once a month, and we would do Soul Book together, and I would teach an art lesson, and then we would do some kind of a life lesson to go with it. And so it was just a lot of fun. I did a lot more books in here. There's a lot more art in this one. This one ended up being a lot fatter, I think, because this was also the year that I left the job that I was working in and took 6 months off of work to really just figure out what it was that I wanted. Where did I want to be? What did I want to do? And this book seriously helped me through that whole process. I have tags and more pockets, just so much. I have a lot of like playing art techniques that I was playing with, and I took some of my favorites and pasted them in. I just fell in love with the whole art. This was the year that I actually fell in love with art journaling. Art journaling scared the bejesus out of me that first year, because I didn't feel like I was an artist. I didn't feel like I was creative. I didn't feel like I really had what it took to be an artist. I've seen some of my favorite people out in the world who are amazing artists, and I just didn't feel like I could be one of those people. This was the year that I kind of got out of my way and started playing and said to myself, you know, those artists that I absolutely adore, they started someplace too. And if you want to be one of those artists, you need to start someplace as well. So I have all sorts of things. I have another thing that I have that I really loved that year was I had a feather collection that every time I was out in the world and my husband and I found a feather, we would pick it up and I would paste it into my book. And feathers that year became a tangible reminder that blessings were on their way, that the universe was telling me that no matter what I was going through, life was going to be okay, and that this feather was just a reminder. So I pasted those in. I generally keep a very positive spin on my Soul Book, but sometimes, as you know, when you're going through life, sometimes life can get really heavy and there can be really some serious things that are going on that can be very stressful and exhausting, and you may not know how you're going to get through it. Well, one of the things I do when I want to document one of those moments in my life is I will write it all down in a letter, and I will stick it in an envelope, glue the envelope into my Soul Book, and then I will tape it closed with this one happens to say, proceed with caution. I was having a really bad moment in my life, because the bad things that are happening to you are not who you are. They're just events that are happening to you. But you also don't want to sugarcoat your life so much that you believe that nothing bad ever happens, because shit happens. You know, I mean, that's just life. Things happen to you. You can't appreciate the awesome things going on if you don't have bad things to then compare it to. So I try to give those bad moments a place in my Soul Book, because they are something that shape who I am. They are something that affect me in my life, but I don't want to give them the glory. I don't want to give the bad times the glory. I just want to acknowledge that they happen and then fill the page around those envelopes with happy and good and joy, and basically the lessons that event may have taught me. Stop believing the lies that the world tells you. You are good enough. You are smart enough. You are enough, just as you are. You know, sometimes you need to hear that when you are in the moment of, you know, you're in your moment of quagmire, and really what's happening is you're just listening to all the lies that are out there. So I really like to put those moments in my Soul Book, because it is a part of my year. It is a documentation of part of my year, but I don't want to glorify those things. I want to to just kind of okay, I've acknowledged that you've happened, but we're gonna surround you with goodness and love and joy because that's who I am, at the soul of who I am. And again, that's what your soul book is. Your soul book is to remind you who you are when life gets crazy busy. Who you are, what do you want, who's most important to you, what are the things that are most important to you, what do you want to experience, what do you want to be, what do you want to do, what do you want to have. That's what your soul book is all about. And this book was scrumdiddlyumptious. I just had so much fun doing this. So the last one I've done, which was year 3, which is my 2016 book, is not terribly full actually. About halfway through my year, I stopped doing soul book. And in stopping doing my soul book, what had happened was I was going gangbusters, just like I had done the year before. I was having fun in it. I was still teaching soul book, so it became very easy to do it because I always had time at least once a month to really spend a good 4 hours doing soul book club, because that's how long my class was every month. It was 4 hours. And it was just something that I just did. It wasn't something I really had to think about, I just did it. It was habit at that point. But about halfway through, my life got so stressful that I actually stopped paying attention to my soul. I stopped wanting to be quiet and hang out with myself. And I realized in the last 6 months I have not done a lot of soul booking. I have done a little bit of soul booking in a travel notebook that I keep with me, but in doing that little travel notebook, especially 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to North Carolina for a business trip. And I knew that my job is very analytical, and I'm not very analytical. I'm an artist. I think in colors and design, and I needed some way to maintain sanity that week I was gone, because I am such a homebody. I love my husband, I love my new city, and I just needed something creative with me. So I kept a little Moleskine notebook with me, and I just clipped out magazine pages, and I just, did all that kind of stuff in there. And it made me really hungry for doing an actual soul book again. So here I am. I am not beautified, because one of the things that I have a tendency to do is I overthink everything. And I keep making excuses why I can't start soul book today, why I can't start soul book today. And I've decided that no, I am starting soul book today. I'm gonna share it with you in all of my disheveled, artsy gloriousness. And we're gonna have fun, because that is really the point of soul book. Soul book is about presenting your real, authentic, raw self, and you're documenting that into your soul book. And I just think that, one, it's such a great tool, but more than that, it's fun. It is so much fun. And to be able to have these awesome treasures that you can then look back on and look at what your life was like during those moments, I think that's pretty awesome. So what I would recommend to get started with a soul book, with your own soul book, is a scrapbook. I like to use a hardbound scrapbook with a sewn in spine. It's totally up to you. There's really no rules in this. This is just how I do it. I like doing it in a sketchbook with kind of inexpensive papers. This is actually a Blick artist book. It's actually a Blick sketchbook that I just picked up for like $7 from the Blick store. I love it. It has a lot of paper. It's kind of thin paper. It's not really meant for mixed media, but it doesn't matter. I just really wanted to have a lot of pages so that I had a lot of room to play all year long. And really, that is the only requirement that you need to do a soul book. I have lots of art supplies. You don't need a lot of art supplies to do this. You can just have a magazine, some scissors, and a glue stick, a pen and a pencil, and you'd have everything you need to start your own soul book. But I think what I'm going to do is that every week I'd like to share with you what I'm doing in my soul book that week. And if you have questions on how I did something, I will walk you through how I'm doing everything I'm doing. But if you have more questions, just write a comment down below, and I'd be happy to help answer your questions, tell you what I'm doing. And I really want to just kind of walk you through what's happening in my head as I'm doing my soul book. And I would really encourage you to try this on your own. You don't have to commit to a whole year. Maybe you commit to a month, and then do a small sketchbook and see if you like doing it. But I really find that having a soul book is really a good way to it's a creative way to get you from where you are to where you want to be, remaining authentically yourself all the way in a very fun, low pressure, neat kind of way. So I think what I will do is just get started. I apologize for this horrific angle. I will have this fixed eventually. That was one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitating doing my soul book. But again, this is all about realness, being raw, and just doing it, okay? Sometimes being brave is just being scared shitless and doing the work anyways. There's no magic here. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a couple of cheapy craft paints and a paintbrush. Just gonna start with 3 colors here. These are just cheapy craft paints. I also need some water to wash my brush. Because I'm in my art studio and totally improvising, I'm going to use a bucket of water because I am improvising. Move some of the stuff off my art table. And because I don't have running water out here, I have a half gallon of water. And I'm just gonna use that to put into my bucket here. So I have something to clean my brush out with. And I really like using the same brush over and over again. And I will just use some paper towel to dry my brush off in between colors. Not rocket science, just kind of getting the color down. Use a sheet of deli paper for my palette paper. So my art studio right now doesn't actually get a lot of use, and I'm trying to rectify that. I've just made myself so busy that I haven't really taken the opportunity to come out here and just play. Because if I were to zoom the camera around right now, which I'm not going to, but if I did, you would see that I still have a crap ton of boxes in here that have not been unpacked and no room left to unpack them. So at this point I need to finish going through the rest of my stuff and deciding what stays and what goes. There's a little community center here that teaches art classes to children at very inexpensive rates, and I think that is where I'm going to start donating a lot of my art supplies that I'm not using, because I don't need money for them or anything. I just like the idea that they're going to go someplace that somebody will really enjoy them. So what I am doing is I just want to get some color into my art journal. One of the hardest things about starting an art journal, especially a brand new one, is that it's blank paper. So it can be a little bit overwhelming. So don't be terrified, but it's going to be very haphazard. I'm just going to put some color into my book. It's I don't really follow my book in order. However, I will start at the beginning, but I will jump around and just kind of put color wherever I want. The only thing I recommend when you're choosing your paint colors, if you're going to use your journal as a tool where you can write in it with pens or pencils or whatever you're going to write with, I recommend using matte paint. Matte glue, matte paint, anything matte, because it will then give you the ability to write on top of it. If you use gloss, a gloss paint or gloss varnish or anything like that in here, anything that's really slick plastic, I'm not going to let this dry. I'm just going to turn the page. And I'm actually just flipping to another portion of the book, not really paying attention too much. And I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm just going to keep going. This is all about just breaking the book in. It's not about pretty. It's just about getting out of your own scared muscles. It's just an exercise to get moving. Kind of a warm-up exercise. And I can't remember what I was saying, so welcome to my head, people. This is kind of how I work. Oh yeah, but if you use matte materials, you're able to write on it really well. If you use gloss materials, a lot of times your inks and whatnot on top of it will slide around and it will cause you some grief. Plus, I really like the matte. This technique I'm doing is really, I'm not using a lot of paint, which is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of brush strokes in here. And because it's not very thick, it dries really, really quickly and I can turn the page and keep going. So I'm just gonna keep doing this throughout my book. There's really no rhyme or reason. It really just is about getting some color in the book and getting out of my own way. Because if I overthink this, which I have a tendency to do with a lot of stuff in my life, I will not do it because I will scare myself out of it. And if there's anything that should not be scary, it should be your soul book. Let me just tell you, there are no rules for soul book. There are no rules. You can do whatever you want in your soul book. It is your soul book. Not mine, not yours, no one else's. But what I would like to tell you is I would recommend not sharing your soul book with anybody until you are absolutely comfortable sharing it. When you don't share what's in your soul book, it kind of frees you up to play. You don't have to make something pretty, you just have to make something. And knowing that no one else is gonna see it, that helps with the process. And I'm basically just gonna do this until my paints are gone from my little palette here. And I'm not cleaning, as you can see, I'm just kind of going. Some of them are looking kind of mustardy, which is fine, I don't mind that. And the color doesn't have to go across both pages, but I just want to get some color in my pages. You also don't have to use acrylic paints. You can do acrylic sprays, or maybe you want to do inks, that's fine too. Really, anything you've got on hand, use it. You've got color crayons, use color crayons. Those work beautifully. They're a little tricky to write on, but that doesn't mean you can't write your sentiment on a white piece of printer paper and then put that on the page with some glue stick. That would work great as well. And because I'm using such a thin amount of paint, I don't worry about gessoing my pages, because you won't have a lot of curling from this just because you're not really using a lot. There's not a lot of liquid going into your pages. And if you've noticed, I haven't washed my brush even once. Just pick another pinch and go forward. Maybe one of the things that you might notice that I do is I have a tendency to try to make a triangle, whether the highest point is here and then it comes across and up, or it's in the center, or I make a couple of triangles. I kind of do everything in triangles. I don't know why, it just seems to work, so I go with it. Now I'm gonna clean my brush. And I'm not gonna be too persnickety about it, I just wanna get it a little bit clean and then use my paper towel to blot off the excess. And that's it, you're just gonna keep going. Then when you come back again, you have the ability to then decide, well, what do you wanna put here? Maybe the very beginning of my book would be a great place to put something I print out on the computer that basically gives me permission to play. Maybe it's my rules I put in place for my own soul book. Maybe you have your own set of rules that you would put in place for your soul book, and you could set this right here. Another thing I really like to do in the very beginning of my soul book is I like to paste an envelope down right away. And then what I do is, in there I will tuck a letter, and it basically is a letter that I write to myself about the year that I'm working on. So this letter would be to myself for the year of 2017, and it says do not open until January 1st, 2018. And it basically is words of encouragement that I would tell my best friend about how her year is gonna be for 2017. And it's basically me writing that to myself, and that would go right here. And I think that's probably what I will do. So that's what that's all about. And then here I would normally do a vision board for my year. I really like to just grab some magazines, cut out images, words, thoughts, and like paste them all down with glue stick. And then, so that way I have kind of like an introduction. This is my soul book. Here's my permission slip to myself, my rules for my soul book, what will fly, which won't fly. Totally up to me. This would be my letter my letter for 2017 to myself. That is not to be open until January 1st of next year. Then I would put my vision board here, my 2017 vision board. But really there aren't any rules. But those are my 3 suggestions for that first section. Now I am still in the mood to keep coloring. I want to play with some more color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick another medium. And I'm not sure what yet, so let me look around. And I'm going to, okay, we're gonna make this super simple. And I don't have any of my black ink in the house. I did an art class this last weekend. And so all of my art supplies that I would normally use, like my ink pads, are out in my car, and I don't want to look at them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna choose a random color. And I like StazOn ink because I like that it is permanent. I also use archival ink, Ranger's archival ink. because I can layer lots of stuff on top of it and it won't smudge, it won't move around. And I'm gonna pick just a stencil or two. I generally use stencils that are background stencils. They're just lots of texture. And I think what I will do is I will use some stencils, or I will just use some stamps to plunk some stenciling down in my book. And I'll pick two. And I'm going to use this purple color. It's called Royal Purple. And again, it's only because I have it handy. Apparently I've never used these ones before, so let's break them out. I'm not going to use a block for them. This is all, again, this is just all warm-up exercises. That's all this is warming up. It doesn't have to be stamped perfectly, and when I put it down, I'm not going to actually touch the whole thing down. I'll touch part of it down, and then move it and touch another part of it down, and maybe touch another part of it down, and do that a few times. Turn the page, keep going. And even though you're doing the first starter technique, depending on how you cover this, it could look completely different than the page that you do that's identical to it. So I'm gonna do it again. Again, this is just about getting your creativity muscles warmed up. It's not about pretty, it's not about perfect. I do have a weird thing about text, though. I like my text to go up and down, but I'm not too persnickety about that. Just kind of push it down, and then because I don't want to waste any ink on this stamp, I'm gonna just plunk it down just 2 more times on another page, and then I'm gonna use one of my other stamps. At this point, you could change ink colors. Doesn't matter. I might do that. I get that to stick. See if I got another darker color. This blue. Some of my ink pads are really nice and juicy, and some of them are not so juicy. I recommend keeping your pads juicy so they're always ready to go, but I'm really bad at keeping my own advice for that, so just gonna use what I got on hand. I'm gonna pick one of these Diane Reevely stamps, and I'm gonna do the alphabet one because I like it. Again, just push part of it down, and it's upside down. Whoopsie! So I will flip it over. Love this blue. Love it! And don't be afraid to overlap what you've already put down. Keep going. Yeah, it's very gratifying. Now that page is ready for the next time you can play on it to add another layer to it. Let's do some more alphabet. And we're just gonna ghost this one off till all the ink's gone. And let's choose another stamp. I'm gonna use that other alphabet stamp, or this script. This is Tim Holt's Ledger script. I'm gonna use the bigger of the 2 stamps. Make sure I'm holding it right side up. Again, text. I have a weird thing about text. I like my text going up and down. Another thing I like to do is I like to pull stencils out and just add some random stencils to different pages. I like to use washi tapes on different pages. The only thing I try to keep in mind is, I need to decide at some point when I get to that page, when I'm actually getting to that page to actually do something to finish it, I need to decide, do I want to write on this page like a Dear Diary, today was blah, 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 or share a story, or share something about somebody special that I love. I have to decide what I'm going to do with it. Do I want it to be a writing page? Do I need more solid space so that you can actually read what I'm writing? Or, is it going to be something I'm going to cover with a lot of magazine images like I'm doing a vision board or something? So there's that one. I'm going to call that good. Just because I do have the attention span of a gnat and I really like switching it up. So I'm going to pull out, I have a ton of inks and sprays and I don't ever use them. Shame, 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 shame on me. And I don't really like some of the sprays I have because they have a tendency to stay juicy. And that bugs me when I get a page down, because I do them in well, you can see I totally do it very ADD. There's no rhyme or reason to what I do. It's just about playing. You are a kindergartner playing, and I love to tell this story. Like, I remember drawing something when I was a little girl, and I was in kindergarten. It's my favorite time of school, was the craft time. And I remember drawing like a circle on a stick, and I just knew that was the prettiest little princess you ever did see, and it was really like an ugly stick lollipop looking thing. But it didn't matter. In my head, it was gorgeous. And that's what you're supposed to be thinking when you're coming to this process. It doesn't matter. It's not about what it looks like. It's about the process. It's about getting out of your own way to play and to get creative. And when you do that, something happens when all of the negative Nancy voices in your head kind of get quiet and you start hearing messages from your soul and from the universe talking to you. And it kind of gives you a sense of clarity. That's why I say that I use art journaling or my soul book process as a meditation technique, because it really does let you get out of your own way and create some really awesome, not just the things that you create on the piece of paper, but it also creates awesome ideas and gives you some epiphanies or answers to questions that you've been asking and maybe you feel like you haven't been getting answers to them. One of my favorite things to do when I'm doing an art journal spread, and it's the times when I usually do like an art journal spread from beginning to end, is I'll ask myself a question that I've been mulling over and I'm stuck on for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what's a good example. Like saying, I have this big decision to make and I have no idea which way to go. Which way should I go? And I think it's really awesome to ask that question. Hey universe, I'm stuck and I need to know which direction to go, but I'm stuck. Can you help me figure it out? Ask that question and just start playing. And 9 times out of 10, the answer will come to you. Now all I'm doing is using some paper towel to cover some of my stuff. That's one of the things I don't like about sprays, that it kind of gets everywhere. But again, it's about playing and not really worrying too much. I don't know what colors these are. I didn't really swatch them at all. So we'll see if they work nicely together or not. They might not. And if you see, I've kind of got spray all over my book edges. Don't care. I'm gonna smoosh it closed. Pray it doesn't get stuck, because it might. If I'm worried about the pages getting stuck together, then I will sometimes take a sheet of deli paper like this, or I will take some wax paper and stick it between the pages and just let them dry as I go to the next page. I generally try not to spray the same piece of paper on the both sides. That way it gives one side the ability to dry all the way through the piece of paper before I start arting on that page. And remember, in my world, arting is a verb. In case you were like, that was bad English, Basso. I know, it's bad English, I get it. But this little guy I just felt like it really needed some red. And I want to take my deli paper and smoosh it around. Let's see. What are we gonna get? Don't know. How's that? Yep, like it. And then we'll flip again and keep going. I also generally spray in 3s. That is totally my OCD brain. Just, I don't know. It makes me feel better to spray in 3s. The Lord knows I'm making a big mess. Don't care. Let's try some different sprays. I know it'll take me a minute to get them open. A lot of these sprays I bought last year and never, ever, ever used them, which is shameful, really. But, yeah, welcome to my head. I just get so enamored with art supplies. Sometimes I think, if I buy this spray, I will be an artist. This spray will make me an artist. Then I put the spray in a drawer and never use it. And then I think, still not an artist. If I buy this brush, then I will be an artist. And then I put it in a drawer and never use it. Listen up, my friends. If you want to be an artist, just start arting. And it's going to look like crap. It's going to be bad. Some of your pieces are going to amaze you and blow you away and be so phenomenal. And then there's going to be some that are going to be totally shit. And you're going to be like, oh. There have been some of my pages that I've hated so much that I had to actually glue them together. I took the 2 pages that had the bad spread on it and I glued them closed because I just couldn't even handle looking at them in my soul book. But again, it's my soul book. I can do whatever I want in it. And the rules that I create for myself on day 1 are not the rules that I have to abide by forever. Again, this is Christinaville. I get to do whatever I want. Just like you get to do whatever you want in your soul book. I love lime green. Love it. Mermaid Lagoon. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, that's nice. This is going to be a mushy one. I want to mush this one. See how scientific this is? Do you see how scary this process is not? This really is about being a kindergartner and just playing. Seeing what happens, what works, what doesn't work. Try not to make too big of a mess, me, talking to myself. Because I'm the only one responsible for cleaning it up and I don't want to clean up a big mess. So that looks a little bit like a Rorschach test, which is kind of cool. I'm starting to get a sniffle. It's getting cold out here. This art studio is not attached to the house. It's kind of in the backyard, which is really awesome. Really, it is. I'm gonna go a little crazy here and put a little red, maybe some purple, because that blue looks a little purpley already. I could take a dryer and actually dry this right now and let it stay all speckly like it is, but all of my dryers are out in the car because of the art class I just taught, so we'll have to do that another day. Ew, don't like that. Add some more blue. No, it looks kind of like 2 angels with its wings behind it. Okay, we might rock that later. We'll figure out something to do with that. And the pages are rather thin because it's just a sketchbook, so the ink does bleed through. But again, I don't kind of let that bother me. It also looks like 2 bumblebees with its little wings. Little stinger over here. Yeah, we'll see what we do with that page. Don't know. Let's see, what else can we do? We have got so many supplies. Oh my gosh, it can be a little overwhelming. Okay, let me put my spray inks away. Just plunk them back into the drawer back here. Da-da-da-da. I have a big alpha system behind me that my hubby helped me put together to put all of my art supplies away so they wouldn't feel quite so overwhelming. Doesn't always help, but it helps a little bit. Let's see, let's put my stays on away. Now while I am here, and these are all drying, I think one of the things I am going to do is I'm going to ask the universe a couple of questions. Like this one, I think this one will be a good one. Universe, what's a good question I've been mulling over? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take a pen. I don't know if it really matters what kind of pen. Just be aware if you choose something that is not permanent, that if you do something over the top of it, it can run, so just be aware of that. And of course, I don't know what these letters mean anymore because I don't use them hardly ever. So I'm gonna just choose one of my micron pens. And it doesn't really matter what kind of pen. And I'm gonna say, this is my question to the universe. And this writing this question here to me then says that these 2 pages are for answering that question. And I might have an answer today, but I might have little bits and pieces of the answer maybe the next 4 or 5 times that I visit this page. So my question is, universe, I want to be fabulous, exclamation point. What the hell does that mean? This is a question that I've been whining to my husband for a long time, and God bless my husband, he is not my truth teller. He is not the one who's the be all end all. He is not the one who's supposed to answer all my questions. So I'm saying, dear universe, I want to be fabulous. What the hell does that mean? And then as answers come to me, then I'm going to write them down. Okay, I have an answer. One of the things, universe, I want to be fabulous. What the hell does that mean? I take time to art. I spend quality time with my friends and family. I take time to play. And create. But I'm also willing to do the hard work to get from where I am to where I want to be. So you don't have any other answers? If you're not sure, just put your hand on your heart and just breathe in a few times. Just deep breaths. Do I have another answer for this right now? I take care of myself. Treating myself I don't worry about what others are doing. I just make sure that I am doing what I want to be doing. Okay, that's enough for that one. Let's see. See, simple. That's soul booking, people. Simple. And my pages are dry. I love that. So fast. I am the instant gratification art journaler. I have no patience for this stuff. I don't have anything to write on that page. I don't have any questions in my head, I don't think. And I have no qualms saving my tissue, my deli paper, and I will use it again. I have no qualms using that again and again. Whew. Here's the question. I've got one. And because I like to keep it different, I like to change the way I do my font. Like my handwriting from left to right, up to down, you know, whatever. What does my dream business look like? I think this will be a great place to do a vision board for my dream business. That is something that I have been putting off for some reason. It seems, I think that is because in my head that seems really scary to run your own business. Like make money on your own. How do people do that? I don't know. But again, that's not for me to figure out. I think the universe will give me the answers. My job is to just go with it. So that's really the process. At least that's what I'm gonna do now. I think, homework assignment. The next time we get together, I would love to see, if you choose to, write some kind of permission slip here, giving yourself permission to tell your inner gremlins to go take a nap. Thank you so much for trying to protect me and keeping me safe from harm, but I'm giving you permission to go take a nap, and I'm gonna play for the next hour. And then give yourself permission. I, Christina Basso, I give myself permission to play in my soul book without worry, without fear, without judgment or shame or blame from anyone else or myself. I know that this book is for me and for me alone. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, do a permission slip of some sort. If you want, you can also put rules here. Like the rule number 1, this is a place of play. This is a place for your soul, blah, 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 blah. Then I also would love to see you put an envelope here that says not to be open until January 1st, 2018. And inside of that, write a letter to yourself for this year. What do you hope for this year? What do you want for this year? Write it as if you are talking to that you on January 1st, 2018, and put that here. I think that's a really great place to put it. Don't worry about decorating the envelope unless you want to. You are more than welcome to decorate as much or as little as you want. I just go through phases. Sometimes I really want to do more, sometimes I don't. This spread, last homework assignment, if you want to do it. Homework in this class is not required, it's just suggested. But in this 2-page spread, I recommend and I encourage you to put a vision board down for 2017. And to do that, all you need is to get some magazines and tear out some images that speak to your soul, cut them out, put them down. I would recommend using glue stick because, again, I have no patience whatsoever. And I like the fact that glue stick doesn't generally make your pages wrinkle too bad. So get that down and maybe you'll surprise yourself. See what comes out of you when you do that. Don't think about it too much. Just say, this image speaks to my soul, it belongs here. This image speaks to my soul, it belongs here. And just because you cut out images does not mean that they have to be glued down. Like, have them keep going through the audition process. If at any point it doesn't speak to your soul anymore, it no longer makes the grade. It does not make the cut to go into your soul book. So next time we meet, I will show you what I've done on those 2 pages, and I'm excited to see what's next. There are so many more things to do. Next week, I think I will show you things like tip-ins, hiding envelopes, extending your pages, making them longer. You are more than welcome to go through your soul book and color as many pages as you want. You can decorate them in any manner that you want. These were just the ways that I showed you how I was doing it today. But the sky's the limit. This is your soul book. Nobody has the right to tell you what goes in here. Nobody has the right to tell you what doesn't go in here. Nobody has the right to tell you how this is supposed to be. This is yours and yours alone. So, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so immensely. I was so terrified to do this video, and I'm just so glad that I have done it, because this really is sharing my soul with you, and that feels very raw and vulnerable. But I know that it's something that needs to happen, because this has been such an amazing tool of healing and growth and fun for me, and I really want to make this a tool that you also have access to as well. So if you haven't already, go get your sketchbook, whatever sketchbook you want to use. Mine happens to be Blick from the Blick store, $7, $8, I can't remember. But don't go out and spend a bunch of money on a bunch of art supplies that you probably don't need. Look around your house, see what you can find. Yeah, there's so much that we can do. And I cannot wait until we get together and play again next time. Leave me any questions or comments you have down in the comment section down below. I am so happy that you're here. If you liked this video, please thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos that will be coming. And yeah, if you thumbs up, it'll let me know that you liked this format and that you liked Soulbook and you want me to keep it going. right now in my head have it that I will do this for 6 weeks to kind of just test the waters and see how it goes. But I do this all the time. So if you want me to continue sharing this with you, please just let me know, and I will make sure to do that by watching the likes on my videos and the comment sections for your questions. So you guys are amazing. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here and putting up with my crazy ADD-ness. It's real, people, it's real, but it's really a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.